just a bit over 20% of Americans living in rural areas lack access to broadband internet. That's just a little bit more than 1 in 5 Americans in rural areas. Broadband internet access, or broadband internet, is defined by the FCC, the Federal Communication Commission, as any fixed internet connection with a minimum of 25 megabits per second download, or at a minimum 3 megabits per second upload speed. Now this is devastating. Imagine a global pandemic would hit, which did, and school closes and send the kids at home, and you're stuck in a house where the best internet connection there is, because lack of cell phone reception and everything, is something that guarantees up to 1.2 megabits download speed and about the same in upload. Is useless if you have multiple kids at home doing it. Now, many companies tried to solve or address these challenges. Google had Google Loon, balloons to bring broadband to the masses. Facebook had Aquila, drones to bring internet to the masses. Both of these programs or projects got discontinued. Microsoft developed white spaces or TV white spaces where they use unused frequency for TV broadcast in Africa to bring broadband to rural areas. Now, one day Satya visited one of these mega data centers that we call the cloud and learned on his trip that many of the rural areas around these super big data centers, people lack access to broadband. So he asked the team to bring this TV whitespace technology also to the US and start developing or building it out here. But most prominently is probably StarLink. I think everybody has heard of it by now, from Elon Musk, where he's using basically satellites in the lower orbit to reduce the latency time, which is the time from when you send the signal up and basically get the answer, for a, let's say, way more affordable price than traditional satellite slow connection was for people in rural areas. Now the challenge is, if once you register, it takes quite some time until you get the invite to actually order your dish. In this case, they waited way over a year. It took forever from ordering it until they actually got it. I would say it's more than 2 years that they waited for this particular day. And this week, they finally received the dish. They called me, so I jumped in the car, drove my 90 minutes to go and set it up. So let's see how the setup process works. So here we have the StarLink box. It's pretty big. After all, there is a satellite dish on the inside. Let's open this baby up. We have some nice advertisement cardboard to protect the loads. And now we're getting to the pieces we really want. First, we see the little foot where you can put it in. It's nice metal. And here's the dish. The dish can turn in all directions, so don't handle it on the dish itself, but only on the stem. I'll put it here quickly into the foot, so we have it aside. And here you see just how long the standard cable is that comes with it. And this is the router. And here's the power cable. And then here are some notice things that I guess country require to kind of like declaration of the standards, etc. So let me put this box aside. Free up my hands, and here we go. Power cable. You see it's like waterproof on the end that goes in. And here is the dish, the new generation, which is that more square versus, or the rectangle versus the circular one. Next step was putting it under the roof. We try for temporary. We didn't order the actual mounts, so we put it on the temporary place. So now we have to set up. You click Start Setup. It asks you to find the location. We've done that on the roof. Plug it all in. Then you have to open the Wi-Fi settings. join StarLink. It will ask you now to create your own Wi-Fi. It's placeholder, you put it Mars project. Then it shows you a summary with the name and password. Now you have to go back in the settings, join the network you just created. Go back to the StarLink app, and now the dish will get its location, then it will boot. Now it attempts to connect. And now we're waiting eagerly to see if it all works. Setup is complete. And here we are. We are online out in the woods after more than 2 years of waiting time. So we need to go straight to fast.com to see how much bandwidth we have now. And we max out at 140 megabits per second. So StarLink internet, to install it, super easy. I was surprised. I think anybody can do it. There's really no magic to it. Even to find the spot where you want to install it, there's an augmented reality function on your phone that helps you find that spot on your roof. And there's a little side note, do that before you can even order the dish, so that once you get the invite to the order, you can also order the right mounting hardware depending on where you install it. The activation of the internet also super easy, no problem whatsoever. What I did find a bit weird, because Musk is by many called a genius, is the power plug or the cable plug that goes from the dish to the router. While it's easy, it would be much more friendly if you could make your own cables, like a usual Ethernet cable, so you don't need that big of a hole to get it inside the house. That is a little bit annoying, or maybe the little round connector, just bring that size down so it's easier to get it inside the house. The other thing is, you can also not use your own or existing Wi-Fi systems. If you already invested in a mesh system or you wanted to buy it, you have to use the StarLink system. And that can be limiting depending on your use needs, because there are so many options out there for whatever needs you have. And that is definitely, I would give them like -1 point for this and another -point for the plug. And then third is the Wi-Fi system or software that makes the Wi-Fi network is very basic. Very basic. User-friendly, but very basic. You can do multiple different Wi-Fi networks, where most routers have at least a guest network and the normal network. I personally wanted to create multiple, one for the kids, one for the grown-ups, so we could put a schedule for the kids that automatically would turn off internet access at a certain time in the house, while the grown-ups wouldn't have to worry with their devices or don't have to go the old school way and unplug the system completely from sending wireless signal. But if you live in a rural area, I can definitely recommend, I highly recommend it. If you don't have the wide spaces, then definitely go with StarLink. Or if you have an RV and you want to work from anywhere, get a StarLink internet, or at least sign up today. It's going to take a while until you get it, most likely, but it truly will have a super changing impact on your home and household, as you can stay connected with decent speeds. If you haven't done yet, please subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon so you stay tuned with my next video uploads. And with that, DDivKurt out.